A dry summer, then comes fall, which I depend on most of all. Hey, Rainmaker, won't you hear my call? Please let these crops grow tall. Sorry for butchering that if you like the band, but that's me. So, it's a beautiful day today. I've just come in for a cup of something and tea, obviously. And I've changed my clothes. Well, put this on because if I presented myself with what I was wearing, it would easily give away what I'm doing. And because I was covered in it. I'm always covered in it, actually, but it's not paint. I'm not quite that far yet. So anyway, what's been happening? Well, I've been watching far too many science fiction movies, and I don't know whether I've talked about this before. I'm not going to trawl through my old vlogs to find out. The ones I have, anyway. But I remember as a child, I was at my grandparents' farm, and I was watching a film, and I think this film was on about just sort of after tea time. It would have been about 7 or 8 o'clock, maybe. It was called The Time Machine. Now, obviously, H.G. Wells based film. Now, I used to watch, Doctor Who and all that when I was even younger, and got a little bit upset and scared and frightened and hid behind the sofa and all that. Not really so much in the latter years, but the Sea Devils were quite horrific, I thought. But anyway, but this was a different thing altogether. The Time Machine, and it really, it didn't give me nightmares. I suppose I can't remember having nightmares from it, but it was a really affecting film for me. And you may know it, but this chap, I think it was in Victorian times when he invented a time machine. And of course, he went into the future, and I don't know, I can't remember how many centuries he went into the future, but it was quite a way. And he came, and I think he passed out when he came round. He was in this kind of, you call it a paradise, I would say, initially. All these people of a certain age. There didn't seem to be any young or old people. That's not really explained in the film. And they're all sort of, sitting around eating fruit. Everything seems, bountiful and leisurely. And then he discovers they're all a bit dim. And they're all, and there's a huge library, and it just turns to dust when he gets a book out. It just crumbles into nothing. So they're not what you'd call educated they're not book smart, shall we say. But the one thing they do know about is when this certain noise, like a factory hooter, sounds, they all sort of stop what they're doing and start walking towards this tunnel that has a door which is opened, and they go inside the tunnel in a zombie-like manner. And then the hooter stops, the door closes, and they've got a certain amount of these people inside this tunnel, and they keep walking. And down below ground, where this tunnel leads, are a type of people called the Morlocks. think the other ones are called the Elons. I think so. Elons and Morlocks, I think. And turns out that the Morlocks eat the Eloi. That's great. So they're just sort of grown, farmed, and then harvested, and thank you very much. But of course, the Morlocks living down underground don't like bright lights. They only come out at night, and of course a stick with some stuff wrapped around it and lit will ward them off. How many times have you seen that? Anyway, it's kind of, I'm sure it wasn't written as a kind of analogy for the present situation. Well, I'm not sure of that, but I don't see how H.G. Wells could have known, but maybe, who knows. But it's quite striking how the brainwashed people are like the Eloi, and they will just follow zombie-like the bullshit. Even they can't think critically. If I go through this door, what's next? Is that the end of me, or I wonder what's down here. And that's what they're not thinking. They're not thinking, I wonder what's down here, because that would be valid. But no, they just go zombie-like to their inevitable place at the table. But they're on the table, not at the table. So maybe that's what happens. I don't know. But having seen Dell's latest visit to Glasgow University, and seen all the Eloi that he interviewed, snap out of it, slap, 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 slap around the chops, and think critically. If you're at university, you've qualified, so you've already been able to remember and parrot information, because that's all you've done. You haven't thought about anything for yourself to enable you to get to that place. No, all you've had to do is copy or photocopy in your mind and then reproduce on a piece of paper, or several pieces of paper, no doubt. What a waste of trees. And then, I've got a position, but I'll have to pay for it. So even that. Now, if when I was a potential student at a university, I knew I didn't want to go, so I didn't even finish my A levels. I just left school. I thought, I've got a job actually, so before I left school, so I thought, bollocks at this. And I'm really glad I did that. Really glad. But when I could have gone, I would have got a grant, not a loan, a grant, a gift. So that would have got me through. No, it wouldn't. I would have spent that in the first term, and then But anyway, so not only are you taught nonsense when you go to university, mostly you have to pay for that privilege of being taught bullshit, and so you're so heavily invested in it. Physically invested, with real, well, as real as money is, with money. So that would give you an even more of a reason to defend your situation and what you're learning. So you're defending the Morlocks. You're defending them. If you are at if you're studying at university and you're learning engineering without studying Euclidean geometry, well, then that's a joke for a start. But if you're there, you've got there through simple, repetitive, repeating what people have said and remembering that and being able to write it down. Oh, what a skill! I am, as my dad used to say to me, I am full of useless knowledge because, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, whichever you think, but I can remember a great deal of trivia about music, and it's not a burden; it's a great thing. I'm very involved in it, and it's a great thing, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. I couldn't live off that knowledge. If we were just stripped bare and everything was fucked, then he's rubbing two sticks together sort of situation. What good would that be to me? And that's why, if you have the ability to critically think, then you can work yourself out of mostly any situation. And the practical knowledge that would give you also through time, and you would be the best boy scout ever, or girl guide. So just to repeat and parrot and present work that was done from the past, or knowledge, supposed knowledge from yesteryear, and to keep on pushing that is, well, it's Eloy. And to run the institutions and to beckon the students in and then give them that place in the world that is pointless. Well, that's Morlock, I think. So maybe there are these two strains of living beings. Certainly, they don't appear like they do on the film, The Time Machine, but that is the kind of gist. And there was one chap in particular in Del's interviews that was Del was asking him to calm down, calm down. That was so great because he was getting excited and quite emotional about his invested belief system, and you could see that he wasn't going to back down. But hopefully, well, I was going to say in years to come, well, maybe even weeks or months to come, he will consider that meeting with Del and really think about it, not just pass it off as some weirdo in the street, because he's far from that, I think. And realize that what he was actually saying made perfect sense. And that's it. Not many people can see sense when it's presented to them because their heads are full of bullshit and false answers. And Dell's very quick to dismiss those answers, but the people can't handle it when they are dismissed. On a very reasonable and solid foundation, he dismisses them. And they can't take that. And that's when they go, what the fucking... Anyway, that is enough of that. And just, just a brilliant example of what we're up against, like you said. So anyway, thanks for that, Del. And it was great, and it was awful, and it was all things when I watched it, to me. But thank you so much for doing it. Anyway, I'm going to get on, finish my tea, and get on. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.